Hello, fellows. So, it is known that the Day of the Great Devourer is a pretty important event in Ninjago history. Actually, I would argue it is maybe one of, if not the most important event in Ninjago history. Get ready because this is going to get crazy. So, at the end of Rise of the Great Devourer, the Great Devourer is obviously unleashed. It eats Boo and Pythor, then chases the ninja and eats the bounty. The ninja escape to Ed and Edna's junkyard and make the iconic ultrasonic raider to hurt the big ol' snake. Then it flees and the ninja chase after it to Ninjago City. They fight it off for a while, but to not much avail. Luckily, Garmadon steps in, and the ninja have to entrust him with the 4 golden weapons. Garmadon aura farms on top of a skyscraper, jumps down and saves the day. The city gets covered in the snake's juice, and Master Wu turns out to be alive. All's well ends well, except that Garmadon got away with the golden weapons. So why is this episode so important? I smell you asking. Well, let's start with season 2, shall we? The second season starts off with Garmadon taking over the Serpentine army and then demonstrates his newfound power over the golden weapons by restoring the bounty and giving it that edgy makeover. They use the ship as their base for a while, and in episode 2, Garmadon finds Captain Soto's old journal, which compels him to resurrect the pirates. But that obviously backfires. Soto goes on to have a pretty important role in the series. He helps the ninja with how to kill Nanakan and makes a lot of cameos throughout the show. Now, if the Great Devourer hadn't been unleashed, it wouldn't have eaten the bounty, which wouldn't have led to Garmadon reviving it, and the old crew and the ninja would have been cooked in season 6. Also because of Soto's journal, Garmadon goes to search for the Dark Island and finds the Overlord, which in turn causes the rest of season 2 and 3 and also crystallize. And that is just the beginning. Now, if the Great Devourer hadn't been released, Garmadon wouldn't have gotten his hands on the golden weapons and wouldn't have made the Bizarro Ninja, that big gap, the Grundle, so Lloyd would have still been his normal age, and also those time travel shenanigans would cost the golden weapons to fly to space, which is also really important in season 3. Okay, to go back to the snake's green juice. The venom caused the Stone Army to reawaken and trap the snakes back underground, which would remain their home for the rest of the show, mind you. They wouldn't be able to tell the ninja about the curse of the Golden Master or about the Sphera. Also, the Overlord wouldn't have had an army, and Kozu wouldn't have come after Dareth the Goat in Day of the Departed. Now let's start with season 3. Now, let's say the Overlord did come back after getting defeated in season 2. He still would have died earlier because Pythor wouldn't be there to help him, and with no Pythor, Garmadon's sacrifice in season 4 would not have worked. And if Zane didn't die in season 3 and came back, the ninja probably wouldn't have gone to Chen's island. Also, the Overlord would not have sent his troops to space because the golden weapons wouldn't be there. And if the entirety of season 4 doesn't happen, then Moro isn't released, and Nia doesn't become a water ninja, and Cole doesn't become a ghost, and Klaus isn't able to escape, and Narakan isn't released. Do you see what I'm getting at? This is quite insane. Now, if the Great Devourer wasn't released, Crux probably wouldn't have been able to get his hands on the Vermilion Warriors. Or at least that's what I think. And if the Time Twins didn't have an army, they wouldn't have gotten very far in season 7, I think. And if Wu doesn't get stuck in time, the Sons of Garmadon would have had a tougher job capturing Wu if he's still a skilled fighter and not a baby. But honestly, never mind that, because the Sons of Garmadon wouldn't even exist because Harumi's parents would still live, so she would not have formed the Sons of Garmadon. And if the Sons of Garmadon don't get formed, the ninja don't get sent to the first realm, and Mistake doesn't die. So then we move on to season 10. The Oni invasion would have likely still happened, and all they had to do to defeat the Oni was to create the Tornado of Creation, so, I mean, yeah. Season 11 would have maybe still happened. It depends on how bored and irresponsible the ninja are at that point in time, and if Clutch Powers finds the pyramid at that same time. Yeah, then season 12 would likely not have happened, because Chen's business would still run pretty good, and the mechanic wouldn't have lost his job and want revenge against the ninja. So he would not have become a villain and would not have worked for Unagami. Yeah. Season 13, it also depends. I mean, the ninja at that point have not fought that many enemies, so I don't really know if Princess Vanya would have heard enough about them to invite them to her birthday party. It is possible though, like it could have happened. Then the island would probably still have happened, but I'm not quite sure about Seabound, because in this universe, Nia still doesn't have her powers, or maybe she has learned them at this point. It all kind of depends on Wu. Maybe Nia would have discovered in season 7 through finding her mother, but without Kai finding that symbol in the helmets of the Vermilion army, that could have also not happened. It's kind of vague. I don't know. Um, so let's just say it's pretty ambiguous if Nia and the ninja go to the Endless Sea or not. Tell me in the comments if you think season 14 would have happened or not. And yeah, then we move on to the big one. None of Crystallize would have happened because Harumi wouldn't be a villain working for the Overlord. Um, but the Overlord isn't even a Ninjago, so that wouldn't be possible. He would probably just be floating around on his mini dark island. Now, Crystallize not happening would maybe be a blessing to a lot of Ninjago fans, but yeah, it's still pretty important, I guess. So yeah, now you see just how impactful the Day of the Great Devourer was. But wait, there's more.
But wait! There's more!
Now, if we trace it further back, you could argue all of this is Lloyd's fault for releasing the Serpentine. And yes, that is valid, but Lloyd was evil in the beginning of Season 1 because of his father. So if you trace it even further back to when Wu and Garmadon were playing in the monastery, if Wu would not have lost his katana, Garmadon would not have been poisoned by the Great Devourer. But here's the big but. The Great Devourer would have probably still found a way to poison Garmadon or Wu anyways, because it was controlled by the Overlord. So, the Overlord planned a slow return by poisoning Garmadon, in turn causing almost the entire series to happen. So, the Overlord was... I mean, he caused his own rise and his own downfall, if you think about it. Yeah, so let's see. Season 1 would have still happened. Season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and probably Day of the Departed would not have happened. Then a part of Season 7 would have probably still happened, but Season 8 and 9 would not happen. The same goes for Season 12 and 15, and maybe Season 11, 13, and 14. So yeah, crazy, right? Now, this is my first Ninjago video on this channel, and I plan to do some more later on. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time, fellows.